Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Sharice Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. My name is Sharice Walker, your host, and today I'm here with Esther Avant, and she is an exercise, nutrition, and wellness coach. And I wish that I would have talked to her a couple months ago, as you guys have been listening to my journey. So, Esther, without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you so much for having me. I have been working in the fitness, health, wellness space my entire career, coming up on 20 years. And it's really kind of evolved over that time to be really comprehensive and multifaceted. I think a lot of people really focus on hyperfixating on what are the best exercises to burn fat or what are the superfoods I should be eating. And we overlook a lot of really important stuff. So I really love making the exercise and nutrition stuff simple so that then we can dive more into what are the actual obstacles that have been preventing me from doing those things consistently.
I love that. And so let's dive into that. What do you find are the obstacles that people, and I know that it varies and it depends, but what are the main obstacles that people struggle with?
Yeah, there are a few. First and foremost, overcomplication. We have so much health-related stuff coming at us at all times, and much of it is conflicting. And we just end up with this jumbled mess in our brains of, I thought I was supposed to do this, and then I saw that that's actually bad. And we end up sort of paralyzed by all of this information and fear of not wanting to do the wrong thing, but not knowing what the right thing is. So we end up doing nothing. That's one piece of it. Or we try to do all of those things simultaneously. Oh, I need to be doing cold plunges and I should do Pilates and I need to eat celery juice and just like too much.
Right.
Those are both kind of flip sides of the same coin where we sort of oscillate between all and nothing.
Right.
So overcomplicating it in both of those ways is a big piece of it. The second challenge I see is that we try to do it alone. We have these attitudes, and I used to have this attitude myself towards my business. I should be able to figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
And this sort of like shame around kind of raising your hand and being like, I could use some help here, which is so silly because almost none of us had any sort of useful nutrition education in school. Sure, we had PE, but most of us didn't grow up learning how to take care of ourselves and our bodies and our health in a very meaningful way. And the feeling of it would say something negative about me to ask for help is just nonsense.
Right.
If you could, of course, you can do all of this on your own. But if you can do it faster, more easily, and more successfully with help, why not? And that's not just professional help from, a coach or a dietitian or a trainer. It's also the community of peers who help normalize the new behaviors. Because the reality of it is the average person in the US is not very healthy. So when you are the person who's really trying to do good things for your health, there's this really strong pull back to kind of the status quo of, oh, you're no fun if you're not drinking. Come on, just live a little, have some. So to seek out people who are already doing the things that you're trying to normalize can just help you feel less alone and more like, yeah, you know what? Just because the people around me don't necessarily get it doesn't mean I should stop doing what I'm doing. So that's the second one. The third is that I think we focus a lot on kind of the surface level. Like I said, we're looking for meal plans, we're looking for belly fat blasting exercises, and we neglect all of this stuff kind of beneath the surface, which is, it's actually hard for me to exercise consistently because I haven't set very good boundaries around my time and my energy, or I'm just not in the habit of managing my time super well. So I haven't actually figured out when can I do it. Maybe it's that I have, some childhood trauma related to comments made about my body, and I need to work through those. There's still a lot of stuff that makes the exercise and the nutrition hard to do consistently, and neglecting that piece of it, I think, is what prevents a lot of people from being successful in the long run.
I agree. And for me, like, I never had a weight problem until, like, I have 6 kids. My last
Oh my gosh.
my last one. because I was 40 when I had her, and all of a sudden it came 10 pounds away. I'd gained 25 pounds, and I was 10 pounds away from my pre-pregnancy weight, and all of a sudden it just went the opposite way, right? And I'm like, what has happened to me? And forget the fact that you're 40 and your body's changing, but now it's like I can't get it off. And the depressing part is, my daughter, she's been gone for 18 months and she's coming home, but she was really having a hard time with Mother's Day. She's like, send me pictures of you and me. And so I'm looking at all these pictures. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so skinny. I look so good, and I hate how I look in the mirror. And so my whole goal was, okay, she comes home in June. I have 6 months. I'm going to lose weight. And here we are, like 3 weeks from her coming home, and I haven't lost weight. I go down, I go up, I go down. And it's like, it's never going to happen. Here we go, And so people like me, what do you recommend that it's like, how do I get started? Because 6 months ago, yeah, had I lost a pound a week, I'd be like, that's where I want to be. But now here I am. I'm like, forget it. I might as well eat my candy bar. I might as well. So like, what's the advice that you give people like that?
It's so tough. And I appreciate you sharing that. And I'm sure that you're open like this with your audience a lot. And I think it just makes us so relatable
Yeah.
because, that's a big part of how I have ended up doing this for my career is
Yeah.
that I was struggling myself and I had, all of this textbook knowledge and I was still binging and restricting and I wasn't, I didn't have a healthy balance in my life. So all of us struggle with this from time to time. And I think it's so important to just own that and talk about it because there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Mhm.
And it sucks to not feel good in your body. It really does. And
Yeah.
especially to have had, a kind of a deadline in mind that we often do. We're like, okay, this will be really motivating. I have
Yeah.
this thing that I want to look and feel really good for. It'll help me stay focused. And that can be helpful. But exactly what you're experiencing often happens where it's like, life just kind of like interrupts it. And then the closer it gets, like the more panicky you feel. And you're just like, well, now it's too late. And right. And either it's like you're tempted to kind of do something drastic where you're
Yeah.
just like, okay, cabbage soup it is. And as long as I'm down 10 pounds, like I'll take what I can get. So there's that. And
I
then
thought
there's
of
the
that
opposite of
one.
like, then there's the opposite, which is like you said, I already feel like crap. I already feel like I can't do it. And, why bother? So I might as well just eat my feelings. At least food tastes good right now. So the thing I would offer you is to remember that first and foremost, your daughter and her love for you is not hinging on
Oh, I know.
the number on the scale.
Yeah.
And I of course, but I feel like it can help to hear from someone
Yeah.
else sometimes that she's not thinking, oh, I was really excited to come home, but my mom's 10 pounds overweight. So like now it's not as fun, right? Like that's not even on the radar. So a lot of this pressure is self-imposed. Like you had what felt like at the time a good idea to use this to help, make some changes. And it hasn't played out that way. That's life, right? We have all sorts of curveballs and unanticipated stuff. That doesn't matter. You can't go back.
Mhm.
What you can do is right now. And ultimately, the behaviors that help you lose the weight are also the ones that just help you feel in control
Mhm.
and empowered and confident in the choices that you're making. So even if she gets home June 1st, you still have 2 weeks.
Right.
That's a long time. And especially with health stuff, those are a lot of opportunities to
Mhm.
make choices that make you feel good. And could you drop, a handful of pounds on the scale? Absolutely.
Mhm.
But what's going to mean more to you is that you didn't throw away these last couple weeks just because the visit was getting close. That you just said, yeah, I was going to use this visit as a way to kind of kickstart myself, but I wasn't going to stop once she goes
Right.
goes back home.
Mhm.
So I don't want to look back on May 16th or whenever, whenever you're listening to this. I don't want to look back on today in 6 months and say, I wish I had just started then and committed to a pound a week for
Mhm.
the next 26 weeks and I'd be where I want to be. So clean slate, you are here now, and you just get to decide what is the next best choice that I can make so that at the end of the day, I feel really good about how I conducted myself. And all I'm ever committing to is the next best choice.
I like that. And I think, and it's because for the longest time, I mean, I was in high school, I probably would say I was anorexic, right? And then you get to like, I was very, very healthy. My kids were very, very healthy. Then second marriage. And then I go into this depression. And I didn't realize I was eating. Like if I got mad at somebody, my husband, like I would eat, And so when I finally woke up one day, I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm letting that control who I am? No, And so it's like, okay, now I get to gain my control back and realize. And so that's something that if people are listening, well, they are listening, but everything that goes in your mouth, it's like, why am I eating this? Like if I'm gonna go, we bought some M&Ms yesterday and I tried a handful. I'm like, I don't even want these. And it's because you have this goal in mind. You have something else. And like my younger two girls have no idea the skinny mom. They've never met that person. And so for me, the energy level, different things. And so now it's like, what are my motivations? What do I want and why? So extrinsic versus intrinsic. And for a long time, I want to look good in this picture. That's extrinsic. That's not something where I'm going to long-term change. And so, why are we doing things or why are we not? Let's talk about fitness. So there's so many different types of fitness. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, it doesn't matter what you do physically, it's what you put in your mouth. Is that true or is that not?
That's such a good question. So ultimately, as far as the driver of weight loss,
Mhm.
nutrition is more impactful. It's
Right.
just way easier to not eat 300 extra calories
Yeah.
than it is to burn 300 extra calories. So as far as that goes, yeah, nutrition matters more. That said, there are so many benefits to regular exercise that really can't be overstated. And especially in perimenopause and especially as we age,
Mhm.
building and retaining muscle is crucial. And just generally having an active lifestyle, not only does it help, reduce risk factors of like all the diseases, it helps you feel good mentally. It helps reduce anxiety and depression. There are so many reasons to exercise, but it is helpful to sort of uncouple I'm exercising because I want to lose weight, because then you're just trying to like do it for the calories and it can get, into kind of dicey territory. So I would say eat for your weight loss goals,
Right.
exercise because it's good for your body and you want to be able to do your life and know that your body's going to hold up for you.
Well, and it releases like serotonin and like chemically, it's good for you mentally, right?
Right. Like nobody feels worse after a workout. We know this. We can't remember it when we're gearing up to do it, but it's true 100% of the time is if you get clothes on, if you go out there and you get it done, you're always glad that you did.
Your body might be a little more sore sometimes, but your mind is not.
That's fair. Yes.
Okay, so lasting lifestyle change. Like people always talk about, don't go on a diet, you need lifestyle change. Don't do this, don't do that. So why is that so difficult?
It's such a good question. One of the main reasons it's so difficult is our society at large. That
Hmm.
if you think about how we socialize,
Yeah.
it's all around food and drinks.
Hmm.
If you think about the temptations that we're faced with day in and day out, you can't go to FedEx without being confronted with soda and candy.
Yeah.
Everywhere we turn are
Hmm.
these hyper palatable manufactured foods that are engineered to be incredibly difficult to moderate. So when you think about how many times we're confronted with the opportunity to do things that are in opposition to our health or our weight loss goals, it feels like an uphill battle. So
Yeah.
that's really the biggest thing. It's like I never want to kind of leave it there and be like, yep, nothing we can do. We're totally SOL. But I think it is important to recognize like you're not lacking willpower. You're not lacking discipline. There's nothing wrong with you.
Mhm.
We are in very challenging environments. And again, this is why it's so important to have
Mhm.
community and to, kind of normalize some changes. But that's why just focusing on what should I eat, how should I exercise is never enough.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you when you go out this weekend, here's the meal plan to follow. That doesn't help you handle when your friend is like, I really want to try this appetizer. Will you split it with me? Or let's get a dessert. We're celebrating. I haven't seen you in months. Or like, come
Mhm.
on, we never have a sitter. Just one more glass of wine, right? It's not helping you address any of those things. So that's why it's so hard. And like you said, if you're not really in tune with why am I making the choices I'm making? Why is this important to me? What am I really going to get after this? Because it's not about the weight loss. It's about the person that you become. It's about how you feel. It's about how you live your life. And if you're not really in tune with that, it's much easier to say like, yeah, I do want to lose weight, but like my pants aren't as tight as they were a couple weeks ago, and this does look really good. Let's go for it tomorrow. I'll start over on Monday. So it's all of that we're up against, and that's why it's so important to really focus on what is within my direct control, how I think, the effort that I make, and the my behavior. That's all I can do. I can't, I'm probably not going to lobby big food to change their recipes so that it's
Mhm.
easier to stop. So what can I personally do with myself, with my family, with my
Mhm.
network to normalize being healthier?
I like that. And, my daughters are sugarholics because their dad is, like I said, and I told my husband, I said, I never ever had junk food in my house because I knew that that was my weakness. And then you move in and like, that's all my house is. And so my girls were raised eating tons of horrible food. And so what I've like, don't tell them, but here's my secret is when we go to the store, mom can have this, mom can have this. No. And so maybe they might have one thing, but they're not going to have 4 or 5 things. We went to the store yesterday and we got like frozen pineapples and frozen pomegranate, these little packets. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is health food. But they don't know that because they think it's just frozen candy type thing. And I mean, they know it's fruit, but like I've realized over the last couple of weeks as I'm trying to change my diet and ex-nay on the junk food for my husband, that they're starting to make more healthy choices. They're eating an apple, they're eating kiwi, whereas before it was like all this sugar food. And for me, there has to be something where okay, maybe we just focus on this. So I don't have a whole candy bar, I have a bite of it, or we have 2 bites of it. And when somebody who for years now has created a habit where they don't eat as healthy and they consume all this stuff, like just cold turkey it, you're going to feel horrible and you're going to feel deprived and you're going to feel like mentally. So tapering back little at a time is a good thing.
1,000%. And the transition always is tough. It happens in my family too, that there are just so many temptations. And, next thing you know, you have a bag of this and a bag of that. And you look in the pantry and you're like, how did this happen? Like, who's buying this food? And you're like, oh, that's me.
They just eat. Yeah.
And, I only have one son and he's little. But even so, whenever I decide, like, all right,
Yeah.
we gotta do better, there is that sort of annoying transition where he keeps asking, we can get this, can we get this, can we get this? And I keep saying no. But then you stick it out for a week or two and you just offer the foods that you want everybody to be eating, the fruits, the veggies. And it does. People eat what's available. And that's what I always tell my son, a hungry person eats what's offered. So if you're saying, I only want this, you're probably not that hungry.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have the apples and the baby carrots and all that stuff
Mhm.
around, it will become the go-to. You just gotta, present it. And you're absolutely right that these habits are, we've done them a lot. That's how
Mhm.
they become habits. So
Yeah.
it does take time to change them. And a lot of times we do try to kind of rip the band-aid and do it too fast, or we try to abruptly change too many things.
Mhm.
It may well be that you could immediately start one new habit or break one new habit. But when you try to do 5 or 6 at a time, it all feels like too much. So either pick a few and do them gradually, or pick one and really commit to it. And then, yeah, start adding from there. And I guarantee you'll be so much better off 6 months down the road if you've done it in that stepwise fashion instead of had, 2, 3 rounds of the starts and stops in that same time period.
Love that. Okay, so working out, because we talked a lot about food, but what are the best workouts for fat loss? Like, give me
So
your
good.
top two.
Yeah. All right. So this I think often comes as a surprise to people. First and foremost, my priority with almost everyone is walking, just outside of workouts. It's so easy to live a completely sedentary life.
Mhm.
I didn't have to leave my house to talk to you. I didn't have to leave my house to get these clothes delivered earlier. I can get my food. Like whatever you want can come right to you. So unless we're making an intentional effort throughout the day to find opportunities to move more,
Yeah.
we basically don't move. So believe it or not, the biggest variable component to how many calories we burn each day and how many calories we need to, maintain our weight or lose weight, the biggest variable component is our non-exercise movement. So not the 30, 45, 60 minutes you're spending in the gym, but the other 23 hours of the day, minus whatever you're sleeping.
Mhm.
Are you sitting, laying for the majority of those hours, or are you creating the opportunity to get up and move, taking the stairs, doing a walking meeting, being inefficient with the chores so you're moving around more, getting a walking pad. There are dozens of ways to do it. That's first and foremost. That can have the biggest bang for your buck of anything. The second priority is strength training. And I feel like depending on like where the algorithm hits you, you might be getting beat over the head with this, or it might be news to you. But either way, strength training, and not with like little pink paperweight dumbbells, actually heavy for you strength training, following a progressive program, which means that you repeat workouts, you repeat exercises in an effort to do them with better form, with heavier weights, more reps, more sets, etc. You are continuing to challenge your body in those ways week over week is the best way to build, or at the very least retain, muscle while you're losing fat. So those are what should be your focus when you're trying to lose weight. Yes, doing cardio sessions will burn more calories in the moment, but again, you can go burn a couple hundred calories going for a 2-mile run, and then you immediately walk in the door and you're like, "Ooh, I did this run. I should have a few Oreos." And now you've offset it, right? So you don't want to be thinking in terms of like, how do I burn the most calories in my workouts? You want to be thinking about how do I generally get more active, and how do I make sure that I am prioritizing building and retaining the muscle that I have.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so time is short. So tell me, what question should I have asked you that I didn't? And then you want the audience to know.
That's a great question. You know what's one that I feel like bears saying? What does healthy, sustainable weight loss actually look like? You touched on at the very beginning, roughly a pound a week. I think there's just so much noise out there, not to mention the fact that there are lots of companies that are photoshopping progress photos, that are just straight up lying about the results that you might get, and that everybody is like sugarcoating what they're putting on the internet. So sure, it sounds like everybody else is losing 2, 3, 5 pounds a week. They're just not, or they're not for very long, and it's not going to last very long.
And
so this is exactly, this is really an example of like needing to put your blinders on and control like what's coming at you. So mute people, unfollow them, block them, whatever you need to do if people are making you feel like the results you're getting are not good enough. 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per week is sort of generally accepted to be healthy and sustainable. So depending on how much weight you have to lose, somewhere between 0.5 pound and 2 pounds per week. And this is not going to be linear. It's not going to be very predictable. Every single week is down 1 pound and you have this like straight line down. There are going to be some weeks that you feel like you did everything right and the scale stays the same. There are going to be weeks where you feel like you kind of half-assed it and the scale dropped more than normal. And there's going to be all sorts of things that like kind of muddy the waters where you're just like, does it actually matter what I'm doing? It does. And the scale is just a very tiny piece of the puzzle. So in addition to moderating your expectations with that, make sure that you're using other indicators of progress. Take your circumference measurements, take your photos, keep a non-scale victory journal of all the other stuff that you've noticed. Like, hey, today I felt proud of myself. I had 1 cookie and I didn't have 3 like I normally do. I got up and I did the walk when my reminder alarm went off. My pants are buttoning a little bit better. I wore a top I haven't worn in a couple of years. Take note of all of those things to help you see that the scale is not the end all be all, and that what you're doing actually is working and it's improving your life in a number of ways.
That is fantastic advice. Well, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they find you?
Thank you so much for asking. My website is esteravant.com. I have tons of resources there, blogs, freebies. I have a habit tracker that you can download. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, and I have a podcast called Live Diet Free.
I love that, Esther. Well, I'm definitely going to be calling you and talking with you further offline, but Unbreakable Moms, sometimes we just feel like blah, and it's what we put into our mouths that's the fuel. It's how we take care of our bodies. And so if you are struggling and you're wanting to lose weight, or you're wanting to eat more healthy, or you just want some good exercises, then reach out to Esther. As for now, we have concluded another episode of Unbreakable Mompreneurs, and moms, go out and make it a great day. See you later. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Sharice Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.